the thing about routines and stuff is you can't fall off for too long. A day or two is allowed, but then you must pick yourself back up to the same systems. On Friday to Sunday, you know, I party, I have time with friends. But then it has an interesting effect on me. Almost every time I go out now on Friday, I fall asleep.
In the club?
Without fail. Yeah.
News there?
Really? Without fail, yeah, because your body clock every day is used to 9:30. And then you drink kidogo, poof, you know the way your uncles used to fall asleep on the couch. I've become that guy.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Off the Record. Yeah, and Kamakawa Kamadawa, we come here we usually give you like amazing guests on set, and today joining us is a man who needs no introduction. The TV production Don himself, Eugene Mbugua. Welcome on set.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Nice.
Asante, I tried.
You tried? You actually look good for real. Your hair looks nice.
Yeah, the dreads.
Yeah.
Because menisumbua for a while. Because people with perfect hair like, and I'm quite young. So yeah, there's a time Eugene was, you know, a bit going extra with the what?
With the cut.
Yeah, with the cut.
Yeah.
It was way back. It used to bother me.
Yeah.
But I mean, progress is big scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some weird relationship with my hair over the years. There's good years, there's bad years. I think I'm almost at the end of it now.
How long have you had your locks for?
Since 2009.
Ooh.
Because I started to grow it as soon as I joined university.
And like the two of us, we used to see when you were still struggling at 22, trying to find our footing here and there. Making his first million. Tell us about that.
So I went to USIU to study TV production. And I was there between 2009 to 2013. And so while I was there, I did a bunch of different odd jobs. Odd jobs. I started out as a boom singer. The guys who hold the mic. Then I was an extra on Inspector Mwala in Nocturnal Junction. So there's videos that exist somewhere of me acting that I hope none of you ever see.
Tutazitafuta by the way, we need evidence.
So doing that for a bit, and then a friend of mine and I, we had our first business, and we were teaching basic film to primary schools. So we were teachers at McKinney School and St. Austin's for quite a number of years. Just with stuff we had learned from Wikipedia and things. Then while I was still doing all these different jobs, I went on a film set for Obota, and one time this guy drove in a Harley Davidson.
Ooh, yeah.
And then he walked in and everybody stopped shooting, and I asked, who is that guy? And I was told it's the executive producer.
Ooh.
And so that's when I thought that's who I want to be.
Wow.
And so I started to write all these TV shows and try and pitch them around. And as luck would have it, just a few months before my graduation in 2013, I was able to sell my first TV show, which was called Young Rich. We used to profile young Kenyan millionaires, and that went on to K24 at the time, and a bunch of and did quite well on digital. So that's how I ended up making my first million at the age of just before I turned 23. It was good times.
You've also said that before getting the approval to finally air the Young Rich episode, you had toiled for a while with script and production.
As an idea had come to me maybe 2.5 years earlier before it went on air. And also another thing is, I started working in the film and TV industry just before I turned 18. So this was because I finished high school, and even before I had my ID, I was already working on film sets because one of my cousins...
You've been around before you had your ID. Wow.
Because my cousin used to work in some of those jobs, and then he could get me odd jobs, runner, nini. So if you think about it, between when I first got onto a film set and when I had my first TV show, I had been doing odd jobs there for 5 years. So it wasn't an overnight success in any way.
Because that's what people would imagine, you know, because when you say you're straight from uni and then before you even graduate, you already have like Young Rich, you know? No. You don't even know the definition of tamaking. That's what someone would imagine. So
all through my years of school in university, I was a part-time student, which meant I went to class between 5 and 9 p.m. and sometimes on weekends. Then the rest of the week I was working. As I mentioned, you know, doing different small jobs on sets. I started doing film reviews for The Nation. I was doing writing gigs. I remember some of my classmates would do their class projects, and I would do work for them. There are those who didn't even want to do class projects because they're rich and stuff. You could pay me to do the work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Towards the end, I learned how to edit. So then I became an editor from my room. So I was editing work for other people.
Right.
And I think I still have the Best Editors Award from Kalasha 2014. So yeah, I did a ton of things. So that it was not an overnight success in any way.
Yeah.
And it's true to this day. You can see about at DNR Studios, our catalog is wide.
Yeah.
You know, we stay working. So Young Rich TV was the original name of the company, and to be honest with you, I didn't think about it from a company perspective. I had a TV show that I really wanted to make, and which I had been pitching, as I mentioned, for almost 2.5 years, 3 years.
Right.
So eventually, when they bought it, they said, okay, so how are you going to get paid? So I said, with money, you know. I said, no, you have to have a limited company.
Right.
You need a KRA PIN. So, you know, you run to Sharia House to try and register something. So they asked, what's the name of your company going to be? So I just named it as the TV show that I was making. So it was just Young Rich TV because of that. But then something changed. When I started to produce the show,
Okay.
I started to meet a lot of, because you see, every week we would profile an entrepreneur who's done something big.
Right.
So in the process of doing this, I'm starting to meet a lot of young successful people. You know, Tushar Ketty at the time, Danson Mushemi, Dennis Makori. All these were like big successful young entrepreneurs at the time running. They were beneficiaries of the mobile phone and the evolution that was happening then.
Yeah.
And so you start to get business mentorship. And so I was advised, you know, for instance, you can't have, because the whole thing was operating from my room. So, you know, you have to move this thing to an office. You have to register a proper business. You start to get advice that you can't be doing the work yourself. You can't be the one on camera, the one directing, the one editing. So to grow, you must hire some people and delegate. So a lot of the business and how it was built after that came from the advice I got early on from some of the people I was profiling on Young Rich.
You said something interesting, from profiling successful entrepreneurs to you being the one who's being profiled. I know, like, that's big.
And I guess this is thanks to counsel from friends.
Yeah.
And people who are very close to you. And I would also think of it as you really putting friendship at a very high pedestal, something that has propelled you over the years.
Yeah.
There's a very interesting post you once made of this group of 3 friends, you being the third.
Yeah.
Since I think 2015 till last year. At the end of every year, you meet and you pose the same outfit, not outfit really, but same poses. Simply, I mean, how has it played out? Well, first of all, maybe give us even an insight on that particular friendship, and also how it's generally boosted you up.
So I've had friendships are probably the most important relationships in my life, and you know, over the years I've had like very close friends, and some, you know, as life happens, people drift and people move to different places. So with this particular group, this is my friend Muchi and my friend Austin. I met them on the first day of uni. So when you're going through integration, I don't know what they call it. Orientation. Yeah.
And admission.
So we get out of the bus to an orientation party or something, and we both wanted to go drink, the 3 of us. So we just, do you want to go drink? So that's where the friendship was formed. But then they ended up being the 2 of my best friends all through uni.
Right.
As a matter of fact, Muchi was my housemate for all the years that I was in university. And you know, there's you don't realize it as you grow older, but school is a very important catalyst for long-lasting friendships. And there's a reason for it. I think there's a psychological formula that you need 2 things: people you can see without planning, so you know they're going to be there anyway, which is how it works at work. And that's a big part, because you see now when you're older, trying to plan something with someone, I will do it next week, and then so you start to feel like you're a bother, and they start to feel like you're a bother, and then nobody makes time. But when you're able to see each other every day, that becomes a very big catalyst. And then, of course, now the connection element. So, you know, as we left school is when we realized, you know, we're probably going to drift. And so I introduced this concept to them. I had seen it somewhere else. I think another group of friends somewhere in the West had done it for almost 60 years. And so the idea is every year, in December we meet at the same place. We try and dress. I've kept my own clothes, but these guys keep ditching theirs. So we try and dress the same.
So you shouldn't even change your body size. If you kept your own clothes, it means it should fit you by December.
Which of course won't happen. So I guess we will have to change the clothes. Already some of us, you can see, like when it began, we were this tight.
Yeah, tiny.
And then now we are all But then we also stand at a place where you can see the city.
Yeah.
So it's a story of our growth and the story of the growth of Nairobi. Because over the years you can see the new buildings coming up. You can see there was 2 years. Those 3 years there where Uhuru Park was closed. So all we had was mabati. You can see the some years where the masks were introduced and we were wearing masks as well. And I think now we're on year 11, maybe year 12 this year. And the plan is to keep doing it until all of us are gone. So I imagine there'll be a sad time once when one person will be missing.
I feel like when you grow, sometimes it's like you outgrow some friendships. Sometimes you're in different levels in life, and it affects your interactions. Because someone is like, hey, me nowadays I can't hang out with Eugene. He's a millionaire. Me, I'm, that kind of vibe. It becomes very difficult. What's your longest friendship? And have you also had to cut off people along the way?
My longest friendship has to be a guy called Ken. Kennedy Muremi. He's actually my partner in a lot of businesses. I own number 7 with him. And we quite a few other ventures. We went to primary school together. So from class 6 to date.
Wow.
There's others I know from before, but I wouldn't say we are friends now.
Like that.
Yeah, but Ken and I, we still have lunch together every week.
Every week?
Yeah.
Without fail?
Pretty much. Like we will skip here and there. But also it's because we run a restaurant and bar together, so it's easy to... And maybe that's another thing, when you have something that puts your friendship together. Someone like Bien, I went to high school with him, Bien Savara.
You were at Upper?
Yeah, I was at Upper.
Okay. So, I was at Upper.
So these guys I know from high school. And then I would say after that maybe it's uni onwards. I think you get different faces. You get different friends for different faces. So when you're in school, it works when you're younger and sort of aligned. But then one of the things I've seen that really makes a world of a difference, of course, is work-wise if you drift apart, but also family-wise. Once people start to have a wife or a husband and their children, that becomes their primary unit. Then distance, of course, some people move away. But I don't see that as a bad thing. It's quite nice to have different places, different groups for different times.
At times you learn how to just let some friendships be, the exit be, and the others that you know very well, in as much as the spark is not as big as it was. I mean, there's still some element of value in it.
Like mobile phones have just come and made everything seem as if it's urgent. So one of the things that I know I personally struggle with is there's more people communicating to you than you can communicate to them, and that's also just something I've learned to be guilt-free about. Like, I'm not able to answer every phone call, I'm not able to respond to everything. Your emergencies are not mine. And
which should be
and it's a common thing because the mobile phone has made everybody's life seem everything is urgent. So and they'll often make their emergencies yours. And sometimes you can't be able to handle all of that. And then I feel like the ones I've remained friends with are those who don't take it personally and don't guilt trip you. Like sometimes I go like, oh, so and so called me and it was 3 months ago. But I remember just now.
3 months ago. 3 months, Eugene.
But you shouldn't feel entitled to people's time.
Okay, well.
Unless you're that close, unless you're close people, you shouldn't feel entitled to people's time. And I'll apologize and say, look, but if you're angry, that ends that.
You've mentioned something. Ken isn't. You said it's Ken, the longest.
Ken Muremi.
Yeah, Ken. So with Ken, you also now brought number 7 to life. Is there any reason behind the particular number 7? I mean, it will have been a number 10, a number... like how... Is there any significance in...
There's several layers to it. Something dramatic happened in my life when I was 7 years old, so it's an ode to that. But also there's a theory or a quote or something that people believe that if you've been friends with someone continuously for 7 years, there's a chance you'll be friends with them for life. I don't know how true it is. So we had a manifesto that almost, it was an ode to friendship and also to my own life incident at the age of 7. So yeah, and then, 7 is a lucky number and all these things. So, but it was a lot to do with the notion that if you've been friends with someone for 7 years, you're going to be friends with them for life.
It's also been functional for, I think, 7 or 8 now.
Oh, the bar?
7, yeah,
8 years now. 8 years now. So it's also a lucky break there. So hopefully it's going to be there for many, many years to come.
You had another branch, number 7, right?
We had a branch in Westlands some years back. It failed terribly.
Why?
Business is a risk. 99% of businesses fail, or some, a crazy statistic. And it's many things in that case. We got the location wrong. The marketing wasn't as it should have been. We also missed a wave. When we were coming in, Westlands was on its way out. Because some things had changed. Electric Avenue used to be a thing, and then I think alcohol came. So drinking habits changed, and people started being more in the neighborhoods than in Westlands or town. And that's how you saw the growth of clubs in Kilimani, in Athi River, on Kiambu Road. So we came in when everybody was leaving. We had misread the room. So all those things combined meant we lost a lot of money very quickly. When I was younger, I made a comment that rattled a few people, that I said, if amongst your close friends you can't raise 100K when you're in unit to start a business, maybe you have the wrong ones. And I still stand by it. You need valuable people around you, and especially like-minded people who are first of all anchored in the same values, because there's also one of the problems with today's age is that there's a lot of people chasing success at a very high risk of everything else. They're willing to step on other people's toes. They're willing to leave victims in their wake. So I have friends who have the same values as you, and then be there for each other. I think it plays a big part.
Ooh, interesting. And you speak about evolution in a very interesting way. That's evolution with friendship. But there's also the way you've evolved in your output. How Eugene Mbugua is working along the lines of production and being the film visionary you are. How has it transformed? I mean, from the days of Young Rich to now the house helps of
housewives.
Housewives. My bad, apologies. So I mean, how has it progressed? I mean, over time, because this is an entire evolution. You've been around for more than a decade. I mean, has it also played out in terms of growth, in terms of changing values? In terms of,
yes, there's certainly been change over the last decade or so. When you start out, as I mentioned, it's you. And you're running this unit by yourself and wearing many hats. Then you bring in a few more people, and so ideally, if you do it well, the quality changes and improves. So if you look at maybe our first TV show that we did in 2013, vis-a-vis Real Housewives, for instance, everything is different, from quality of work, specialization of the teams that played a role in it, even cost of how much you earn from those productions vis-a-vis the earlier ones. It's a world of a difference, and a lot of that has to do for us with we follow a few philosophies. One of them is a Japanese philosophy called Kaizen, which is daily improvements continuously. So if this was the quality of the camera work yesterday, tomorrow it has to be slightly better. If the edit was done this way, this next time it has to be slightly tighter. So continuous improvement. And I think if you look at the work we've done over the decade, from the first one to what we have now, it's a world of a difference. Also trying to adopt technology to make things better. You have a better trained team. You have people who've also we've got some team members here who've been with us 8 years. So they also do a good job of protecting, almost like the company's guidebook. Yes, all these things. So the evolution is very clear, and it's happened over a decade, using the Kaizen philosophy of constant improvement.
Yeah, just speaking of battle of evolution, there's this wave where we're all trying to create content that can resonate with Gen Zs. Even us as a media house, we're here trying to do explainers, trying to do podcasts. We want to remain relevant so that we can also get the attention of the younger audience. Kina sisi better than Gen Z. Anyway, is this what was behind Control Z? Control Z? How
Control Z.
Control Z, yeah.
It's very much so. When I came in, TV was still king. I remember Young Rich was the first shows on in Kenya to get 1 million views on YouTube, and we didn't think much of it. We were just we even gave the rights to someone else at the time, and just like in any industrial change, in any change that happens in an industry, you adopt or die. So Control Z came for us because we knew that there was a need to make short form content that goes on digital. And to capture a younger audience. So we started this about maybe 2 years ago, and the numbers grew quite well because digital growth has some very high exponential growth, and the idea for us was we run it like a TV station of the 21st century. So you have different TV shows on there, all short form, targeted at Gen Z and millennials, and we experiment with different formats. We've got a dating show there. We had a sports show. At some point we had news for Gen Z, and sort of just trying to understand what this new media age will be like. So quite excited about that. It's off to a good start. It's now starting to have quite a number of commercial sponsors on there, and we do hope to grow it to be even bigger.
Speaking of even, I love what you've said, like trying to also generate revenue out of it. And still in the world of content creation, you've also now started like individually become sort of a content creator. I mean, there's Don Julio here, and you've also worked with them to that particular extent. How important is it to sort of be individual in content creation? And also we see this with the building of followership and all this. The aspect of revenue generation when it comes to content, how is it playing out with Eugene Mbugua?
I feel like for my own personal digital media work, it happened almost as a natural progression of things. So it began with, as my TV shows grew, I always maintained social media pages, but I was never too serious about it. And then during COVID times, I thought, okay, now I have time. So in 2020 is when I started to be a bit more serious about my own social media pages. And so started just share what my usual routine is, the gym, reading, and so on. And interestingly, there was a community that started to build there. And for many years, I simply didn't do any brand work on a personal capacity, because I'm an entrepreneur primarily, and I lead a business, so I didn't really consider myself an influencer, so to speak. And then Don Julio approached me, and this is the first brand I would say that the second brand, because I had done something with a bank prior. I felt like it was good alignment, and even then. One of the things that they were interested in is the lifestyle element of stuff. But then the partnership with Don Julio for me has been interesting because it's allowed me to explore a new direction. I make these short films. So it's very different from what a lot of that type of content comes out. So I make all these nice, interesting short films, and they really trigger my creativity, and that's been fun so far. And so it's something I hope to be able to continue to do. But then in the age and day we live in now, brand building is not a choice. It's for pretty much anybody. Whatever work you do, like even here at the office, I've been telling some of my team leaders, if you're an editor, start sharing what that work is. And some of them are now starting to have like really big TikTok followings. It's the current thing today. It's the equivalent of being on the Yellow Book back in the day. The thing about also having a public brand is it walks into a room many months before you do. So people already know what your values are, what you stand for, and what your thoughts are. And it keeps you top of mind with them. So I would say personal brand building on digital spaces it's a necessity in this age and day we live. And then if you can build one that's big enough, and of course, this is one of the things that's really killing traditional media, because advertising has now become decentralized. It used to be a one media house that does it for you, but now, but now I don't know, Julio will find 10 people who they think speaks to their core market, and literally have each one of them producing different TVCs at a much smaller fraction of what it used to cost. So it's an interesting time in that whole media and digital space.
Yeah, speaking of Instagram, you said you started becoming more active during COVID. Yeah, so ask guys to follow you on IG. You wake up early. You wake up at 4 a.m. every single day. Like, that's not very normal for someone like me. My routine. What I wake up at 11. Don't judge me, but it's because I work late. I work till past midnight. So you wake up at 4 a.m. every day and you go to bed by 9 p.m.
Usually 9:30, give or take.
So
on weekdays only.
Do you have a social life, sir?
Yeah.
When do you even get time to go out? Because you have number 7. Yeah. Do you even get time to go to number 7? If you're in bed by 9, then number 7 is usually packed like this on Friday. Kwanza outside, unapata stools zimekumpaka kwa barabara. That's how packed that place is. What time do you go there? Because you can't get there mchana.
So my life is structured in an interesting way, although now I'm starting to be a bit more loose with it. So I'll go to bed around 9:30 on weekdays, and then be up at 4:15, do fitness, some reading, and then start to work quite early.
This 4 is constant every day? Wake up at 2 every day?
4:15, every weekday,
Wow. You never have days when you have to sleep in too?
They are. Yeah. No, it's not to say that, the thing about discipline that people don't understand is sometimes inakushinda, or sometimes you're just tired of it, and you forgive yourself too, and you but I always start again. So there's times because the thing about routines and stuff is you can't fall off for too long. A day or two is allowed, but then you must pick yourself back up to the same systems. But this is Monday to Friday. Then on Friday to Sunday, I party, I have time with friends. But then it has an interesting effect on me. Almost every time I go out now on Friday, I fall asleep.
In the club?
Without fail.
Really?
Without fail, because your body clock every day is used to 9:30. And then you drink kidogo, poof, the way your uncles used to fall asleep in the couch. I've become that guy. So every Friday without fail, I fall asleep. So it's become even a joke amongst my friends. And then I just pick myself up and go home and call it a night. Then now by Saturday I've nimerudi kidogo.
At least now you're fresh for another.
But so my social life is mostly on the weekends. Because also running a company is very, very demanding. A lot of your hours are needed. So it's just that notion of giving unto. I always say Monday to Friday are Caesar's hours, and Friday to Sunday are Eugene's hours. So that I try to pack most of my socializing and social work during. But although even on some weekdays, I have some traditions. Like on Wednesday, I'll always go to a place I like for live music and dinner, and then I'll have friends over for that dinner. But then I have to be gone by 9:30. So there's room there for socialization.
Golf on Fridays.
Golf on Friday mornings. So gym on Thursday to Monday to Thursday, and then golf on Friday.
Interesting, and I think the discipline aspect of things is very important, especially as an entrepreneur, one who qualifies to be termed as, a top entrepreneur. I mean, you've been on Forbes list. And
so many awards, top 40 and 40, top 48 Forbes. And I
mean, for aspiring entrepreneurs, younger or older, who really want to, be the faces behind or in front of behind, whichever fits your shoe, behind companies, behind projects. I mean, on that entrepreneurial status, how important is discipline? I mean, now that you've already walked the steps.
I think discipline is key to any, because starting is very easy. And then for a lot of, especially for entrepreneurship, it's difficult. Like there's a joke that the only reason we started is because we thought it was going to be easy. Everybody when they start what you think is going to be easy, but to consistently see things through is an absolute nightmare and a headache. And then only the few who are willing to see it through the way, all through, are the ones who succeed. Which is also important to say that there are also some people who are extremely lucky. There's a bunch of people in the world who all these rules don't apply to them. If you're in entrepreneurship and you're young, if you have privilege, I don't have much to say to you because I don't know what that's like. But for everybody else, that discipline and consistency becomes extremely important. Because usually by the time a thing succeeds, there's like a thousand small actions. And the consistency and discipline is what allows you to make those 1,000 small actions. Like I have a notebook that I keep daily, and a lot of it is just like call so and so, send that email. And tomorrow you have to do the exact same thing. You have to watch both your tasks and the tasks of your team and ensure that they're done. You have to do follow-ups to ensure things are being delivered on time. You have to teach yourself new levels because as you get into business, you know, HR becomes complicated, taxes become complicated, so all those things. And so without that discipline and consistency, it's difficult to see through. And then another thing is, sometimes you do all that and still things go wrong. So,
when you've done everything right and
it's the nature of life. It's the nature of life, and that's especially true for a country like ours where things don't work out very well. So sometimes you've done everything right, but the system is just not in your favor. You can't outwork bad structures. And especially when things go wrong, it's then and very more so then your discipline and consistency is needed even more. So it's that you quickly go and cry and wipe your tears, alafu come back. Hakuna njia ingine.
And the funny thing, like, there's always that challenging aspect and challenging time for everyone. Be it not necessarily business-wise,
even life.
Just emotionally. So it's just like ikikupiga a blow, just stay there, but not for too long. Because sometimes it's okay to just sit there and wallow in your pity kidogo, and then ask God why, and then, but not for too long. Then you have to bounce back and routine and discipline sort of. There are more reliable traits than passion. Passion, those guys just wake up leo inspired. I love how you got inspired for another 2 weeks. Exactly.
It's just like that daily boring discipline thing makes a world of a difference.
Eugene, most people know you as a TV producer. Besides TV production and being an entrepreneur, what else do you do?
There's actually not much else. That's all my life. I've got some hobbies here and there. Like this, I learned how to play the sax at some point. I used to. So I learned that I haven't.
It's a skill you still have, so you can still say.
I need
to
brush it up. But I learned how to play the sax. I played at my friend's wedding. I did 2 songs.
Wow.
That was nice, and then it became too difficult, so I quit. There's many things. There's many things I touch and go. I start and then I'm like, okay, that was fun. Then I'm over it because I love life too generally, so I like trying new things.
Right.
There's what other things do I do? I love camping. I love being out in nature and traveling to places. So that's a thing I do.
I like to swim.
Yeah, I learned how to swim.
How's that?
Then also,
maybe you can you're a good swimmer.
No, I feel like, but in my personal life, there's very many things I touch and go, and it's all part of just living an interesting life. I go and try that and see how that went. If it was fun, I might stick to it. Then you create room to do other things because also you see, time is limited. So I want to, for when I leave, I want to try as many things as possible. There's a time I taught myself how to make cocktails and committed to it. So that went on for a while. Then I quit. That was around COVID time. Elisha. Same to the sax. So there's many things I try and go, and it's just to keep life interesting, to keep trying new things. You mustn't commit to them, but it keeps life spicy and interesting.
Interesting. Very interesting, because I think that was demystifying the saying that the older you get, the lesser you should take risks. You should do less of touch and go. You should be like now more concrete on the things you love doing. I mean, but for you it seems to be like the opposite. Like no matter the age, no matter the tunasonga nayo, it's me trying new things.
Yeah, there's some non-negotiable ones.
Okay.
So work discipline, that's not non-negotiable for me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna be this way for as long as I live. It's a dedication to to what your craft is and to what your contribution to is in this world. And I feel only then are you allowed to do extracurricular activities, because like, why are you drinking and you contributed greatly to the country in the week, you know? So that's a standard.
Contributed greatly to the country.
Or at all. There's some jobs that should only be allowed if you've done your part. Like then things like fitness are also not negotiable for me, because you can only do all these other things if you're in good health. So beyond those two things, I feel like everything else is a fun experiment that I try and go. So you must have what your basics are, and for some people that's religion, you know, like the church is not in question, and that's okay. There's people who are golf is their whole life, but for me it's work and fitness are the two standards. Everything else I feel like is negotiable. I can try it, leave, try another one, come back to it if I want to, and you know, just without any loss of enthusiasm. But also just like, but I'm very curious about new things, and I hope to do as many of them as possible. There are also things you just do once and you're done, like skydiving. I skydived once. I was like,
you've done it. You're not scared.
That's the point. That's the thing you did because you're scared. And you took it off the box and say, you know, done.
What's the other crazy thing apart from skydiving was done out of overcoming fear?
Skydiving has to be the highest. What else? I feel like other than that, a lot of the other things I've done have been more like to overcome your self-doubt and stuff. So you take yourself to places. You go to Hollywood yourself to see, okay, what wanafanyanga nini hapa? You apply for that bigger contract than you're actually qualified for. You know, it's like at the gym. I did lift quite heavy. And sometimes just because you've done it, and you know, of course, in a safe environment, you say, "Let me push myself and see if I can do this challenge." You know, sometimes you see someone you really admire, but you know, you're ogopa, so you do that blind email and say, "I'm so and so, and I really want to work with you." And you know, sometimes it amounts to nothing. You see a mentor in a room, you walk straight up to them and introduce yourself and say who you are and what you'd like. And it's those small ways of trying to beat fear on a daily basis, because fear is a constant thing and it keeps us away from a lot of good things.
We have a small game with you.
The quick fire.
Yeah, the quick fire. So it's either you answer the question or you take a shot. Or don't fool you.
So how does the game work? You ask a question. If I don't want to answer, I take a shot.
You can. So you can actually use that to beat at our own game. We decide to answer all the questions. It's really on you.
Okay.
So I'll start the first one. Bien or Bensoul?
I'll drink. I'm already busy.
Next. Okay, Moz.
This is a crazy one. What's the worst Kenyan show on TV right now?
What's the worst Kenyan show on TV right now?
Awita Jena.
I think I'll mention one on my own just to be.
No, it can't be yours.
It can't be yours.
That's crazy.
I'm actually starting to think, what TV shows am I watching? Man, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So
But there's one in your head.
No, actually, the TV industry right now is in a very good place, to be honest with you. There's never been better TV shows now than there is on TV. And this is because the scripting is getting better, the filming is getting better. I mean, there's a bunch of other shows that I don't watch, so I really can't speak for them. But there's improvement all around. And I really can't say that there's any particular one that I have in mind.
Have you ever had a one-night stand?
Lord.
I'll drink.
That's a yes! Okay.
The last one. The last one. Kiss, marry or kill. Betty Chalo, Kibanja, and Natalita.
I'll drink.
He's drunk all of them. Not even one question answered. Cheers.
You've been around for quite a while. You've won awards. You've been this beacon of film and everything. What's a legacy that you'd want to leave behind?
You know, you really can't judge people by output. You can judge them by input, like how much work did they put in. And I hope that by the time I die, I will have spent everything I have. I will have if it's a thing I've done, I will have given it my all. So if it's television, I will have done everything I could do on that front, which I hope I'm doing now. Okay. The hope is that I will be able to expand into other fields, and even there that I will do everything I have done, because I feel like I always tell my team, you can't control output, you can't control what happens, but you can control what you put in. And so my hope is that do you ever see sometimes and just wonder like, here week I didn't do the best I could have.
Yeah, right.
So like, and then sometimes it shows in the results. But when I'm done, I hope that I look back at my life and say, look, I give it my all. And if that's the case, I'll be happy. And then of course everything output now are different. You hope that you'll have built a company that outlives you. You hope like you'll have that joke that you're all talking about now. You'll be the first one to start some generational wealth in your family. It's great too. So all those things I hope that they do work out. But and I feel like if you then do everything that you can, a lot of those things then do follow. So that's a hope for me that when I look back, I'll have given it everything I could.
Well, nice. You've heard it from the man Eugene Mbugua. Yeah, I love saying it with an accent. I don't know, for some weird reason. Like not Mbugua, like Mbugua.
Okay. Mbugua?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
See you guys on the next one. Adios.